Today we're going to talk about keeping your eye on the ball. Well, hello brothers and sisters, good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mission Zero. If this is your first time here, my name is Shawn and this is The Word with Friends, the show where we give a deep dive into language and communications in order to bring us all closer together. The word that I think we should talk about today is the word focus. Now, focus comes from a Latin word, focus. Isn't that interesting? The word focus in Latin refers literally to the domestic hearth, the fireplace in your house. Why is that? It's because when you were at home, the fireplace was what gave you light. It was where you cooked. It was what got you through the winter. It was where you got your warmth, right? It was the centerpiece of the house. So when you were at home, which we were mostly at home because there weren't day jobs, the life of the home revolved around that fireplace. And focus, in fact, means that same thing. It's sort of the what you revolve around. The reason that I think it's important to understand that is to talk about the difference between internal focus and external focus. Internal focus is where everything that comes into your life filters through the filter of you. Right? Somebody cuts you off in traffic, I can't believe they would do that to me. Somebody gets your order wrong at Starbucks, I can't believe they would do that to me. The opposite of that is an external focus. The external focus says, oh, I wonder what was going wrong in that barista's life, that my order was wrong. Oh, maybe that person who cut me off is in a hurry. The disparity between those two frames of reference is kind of where we should live, right? You can't be so concerned with what goes on in other people's lives that you pay no attention to your own and you allow yourself to be a doormat. But you also can't put everything in a frame of reference of you to the point that all you think about is you. The thing that I'm constantly honest about is being more unified, being more us and less them. Where this really gets practical for the church. How many pastors have you known who have to start off every single sermon telling you why you should listen to them? They'll give you how many numbers of years they've been at it, or how many pastors' workshops they lead, or how many times they've read the Bible, as if any of those things somehow confer expertise or authority. The construction of the church has become this weird internal focus that everyone bends themselves around the pastor on the stage. That was never how it was supposed to be. The one model we have in the Bible of that kind of an arrangement was when Lucifer fell, because the entirety of the chorus of heaven was revolved around him. The truth of church, the reality of local church, is that the guy on the stage is no more important than the people in the pews. Do you know how many times Jesus was preaching a message and somebody stood up in the midst of his message and interrupted him? Could you imagine ever doing that to a pastor at a church you attended? You just stand up in the middle of service, hey, I got a question about that thing you just said, and then call them out? You'd be asked to leave. Because it's become a cult of the guy on the stage. And that's not just the fault of the guy on the stage. Do you understand that? The celebration of the witticism of that message has allowed us to pump these people up to the point that they have no choice but to become the embodiment of that role. If you worship at someone's feet, they will think of themselves worshipable. And the cure for that is for all of us, both sides, as it were, all through the church and through humanity. Maintain that balance of focus. A little bit of me, a little bit of you, a little bit of internal, a little bit of external. Because that balance is what allows us to see each other as equals. And that view, that base operation of us instead of them is what brings us together. It's what allows us to have unity. When God gave us diversity at the Tower of Babel, it wasn't a curse, it wasn't a punishment. It was to allow us to grow more, to be more by celebrating our differences. And that can only happen if we see ourselves on common ground. And so I hope that challenges you today. I hope that shakes you a little bit today, because it's what we need to grow together and may God pour out the blessings of balance in us and through us that we can establish those right relationships, those good relationships where everyone involved grows. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I love you so much. Peace.